I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy writing some books, publishing them and all that. You know, I've had some people come to me and say, Akin, okay, I'm trying to work on a book. What do you think? And all that. Sometimes, I don't know. People come to me and say, Akin, you know, you're my mentor. I'll be like, guy, I've not even scratched. So I've not started at all. So I'm also still learning. So, guy, we have you on board tonight. How do you advise somebody who wants to write a book? It's just a simple.
Honestly, there's one major advantage for the times that we're in, and that is Mr. Google. Mr. Google. And it's amazing how most people don't take advantage of it. Because if one even posts that question on Google, how do I write a book? You would get step-by-step guides that in 1 week you would have written a book. You know? And like every other thing in life, it's just about discipline. It's about discipline. You see, most of the time we have desires to do anything, including write a book, but we never take the step. So what you want to do in writing a book is first, just pick a sheet of paper and say, I want to write a book. Just write it down, because it has moved from your idea. You just writing on a piece of paper, I want to write a book, or your jotter. You have started the process. So when you want to write a book, the next question is, what do I want to write about? So those questions, you would find out that you've already made progress. But what happens, a lot of people, the idea just stays, because they also think it's complicated. When I wanted to, first, let me backtrack a little. Yes, I've actually written 8 books. The first ever book was a joint book between a pastor, Pastor Biremi, one of my pastors, my wife and I, on I think it was on couples ministration and things like that. The book was maybe just about 8 or 9 pages.
Wow.
Right. So the error we make sometimes is we think because Joyce Meyer or John Maxwell has written a book that is 500 pages. So we think until we have 500 pages, we have not written a book. No. And these days, guess what? There are audio books. There are e-books. Yes, that the whole book is just 6 pages and it's a book.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So get out of our heads and stop thinking the book must. What really is a book? A book is just my story, my experience on something. And everybody has a story. That's 200 million Nigerians, 8 billion people in the world. At least 10% of those numbers are waiting to hear your story. So write the book. You don't have to publish it. It can be an audio book. It can be an ebook. And if you want to publish it, again, be apprentice. Look for those who have written books. So I can tell you my editor, if somebody wants to write and you approach me, I'll tell you who edits my book, who did the proofreading. I will tell you who prints the book. All my books are printed locally by Femi Oluwalan or Expand Press in Lagos. And most people that have seen my books think I printed them abroad. They are printed there in Lagos. So it's just by asking questions. But a lot of times we have things we want to do, but we think it's so complicated and we just don't even start. So if you don't have money to do the printing, write a book and make it an ebook or an audio book. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah. And if you also don't know how to write, I mean, those that know me, I mean, I can hardly write or a sentence or two without grammar and spelling errors till today. So it's not one of my giftings, and yet I've written books. So I will write it in my own local grammatical manner, then give to somebody who will proofread and edit. By the time the finished product comes out, it's fantastic. So you don't have any limitations. It's just just take the step. Just take the step and move on. And that's how I've written. And all of my books are stories. Just tell your own story from your perspective. And there are people out there, the only book they are waiting to read is your perspective on that matter. Just write. And my books are not bestsellers, right? Even when I started and tried to put them in bookshops to sell, I find out first they won't pay you until they have sold the books and the auditor has audited and your books are in the back shelf. And I understand why, because nobody knows you to buy your books. Right. So I stopped putting my books in any bookstore. I carry them around when I speak or train or teach. If you experience me and then you are convinced from that experience with me, then you go and buy my book. So I'm not writing to make a profit from the books, but it's the best legacy one can give. Your books will go to places you will never go to in your life. And when you are dead, those books remain on earth. It's the greatest investment one can make, to write books. That's why I write.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That personally for me, like I said, it has solved a lot of problems. It's just a timely response for some of the, for his particular struggle I have with something at the moment, right? Thank you.